Every movie lied to you. That glowing car, that blue police box, that phone booth with Keanu Reeves, they'd all kill you instantly. Not from paradoxes, not from meeting your past self, from basic physics. At 88 miles per hour, you're not traveling through time, you're just driving. But if you actually accelerated to the speeds required for measurable time dilation, 99.9999% the speed of light, the air molecules in front of your face would hit you with the force of nuclear bombs. Every breath would be a thermonuclear detonation in your lungs. Welcome to the truth about time travel. It's real, it's happening right now, and it's nothing like the movies told you.
Pop culture taught you that time travel requires a machine, flux capacitors, wormhole generators, crystals that hum ominously, all unnecessary, because you're already time traveling, right now, this second. Here's the truth Einstein discovered in 1905. Time isn't universal, it's relative. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. If your twin gets on a plane and flies around the world at 900 kilometers per hour while you stay home, they age slower. Not metaphorically, actually, measurably. 40 nanoseconds. Tiny, but real. The plane twin traveled 40 nanoseconds into your future. Think of space-time like two escalators moving at different speeds. You're both heading up through time, but one escalator is slightly faster. When you both reach the top, the same moment in absolute time, the person on the slower escalator has experienced more seconds. They've aged more. This isn't theory. GPS satellites prove it every day. They orbit at 14,000 kilometers per hour. At that speed, time moves 7 microseconds slower per day than for us. But they're also higher in Earth's gravity well, where time moves faster. The net effect? Satellite time runs 38 microseconds faster per day. If we didn't correct for this, your GPS would be wrong by 10 kilometers after one day. Now scale it up. Cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev spent 803 days in orbit. He traveled at 27,000 kilometers per hour. When he returned to Earth, he had aged a 0.02 seconds less than everyone else. He's not a time traveler from a movie. He's a time traveler from physics. He lived in our future and then came back. But here's the twist that sci-fi won't tell you. This only works in one direction. You can skip forward. You can't rewind. Velocity-based time travel is a one-way ticket to everyone else's tomorrow, and you can never go home. You don't need a machine to become unstuck in time. You just need to move. And once you do, everyone you love ages faster than you, forever.
Hollywood taught you that changing the past is simple. Stop your parents from meeting, prevent a robot apocalypse, steal a glowing stone? Easy. The actual physics? Nightmare fuel. First problem, the energy. To even theoretically travel backward in time via a rotating black hole, a Kerr black hole with a ring singularity, you'd need what physicists politely call exotic matter, negative mass, not light mass, not antimatter, negative mass, matter that falls up instead of down, matter that, if you pushed it, would accelerate toward you. We've never found it. It probably violates thermodynamics. But even if it exists, you'd need to convert Jupiter's entire mass into pure energy just to hold open a 1-meter portal for 1 second. That's the energy of a trillion suns burning for a trillion years, to keep a door open for 1 second. Imagine trying to hold open a bank vault door, but the door is being pushed shut by the entire weight of the universe's future trying to happen. That's time. It wants to flow forward. You're trying to force it backward. But let's say you somehow get the energy. You build the portal. You step through. Second problem, the Novikov's self-consistency principle. Physicist Igor Novikov proved mathematically that time travel to the past is possible. The universe will conspire to prevent paradoxes. Not might, will. You go back to stop your parents from meeting, your gun jams, you slip, you forget why you came. The universe deploys probability itself as a weapon against you. Every action you try that would create a paradox gets blocked by increasingly improbable accidents that somehow, statistically, always happen. This isn't science fiction, this is the math.
Closed time-like curves, paths through spacetime that loop back on themselves, only permit self-consistent outcomes. The timeline is already written. You are always going to fail. Or there's the other interpretation. You succeed, you stop your parents from meeting, but instead of erasing yourself, you create a parallel universe, a new branch. In that branch, you were never born, but in your original universe, the one you came from, you still exist. Your timeline is untouchable. You didn't change your past, you just created yourself in someone else's timeline. Here's the twist. Whether it's Novikov or many worlds, the result is the same. You can't change your past. You can only create new futures or be stopped by cosmic intervention. The past isn't a document you can edit. It's a law you can't break. Time travel to the past requires the energy of a dying star, the permission of probability itself, or the acceptance that home is a universe you can never return to.
Science fiction sold you wormholes as cosmic subway tunnels. Step in here, step out there. Convenient, safe, instant. The reality? A real Einstein-Rosen bridge, the technical name for a wormhole, would kill you in at least 4 different ways before you made it halfway through. Death method number 1, tidal forces. The gravity gradient is so steep that your head and feet experience different gravitational pulls. We call this spaghettification. Your body becomes a string of atoms 1 meter long. Death method number 2, radiation. Quantum field theory predicts that the vacuum energy inside a wormhole would create a feedback loop, amplifying radiation to infinity. Every photon that ever entered the wormhole gets blue shifted to gamma ray frequencies. You'd be exposed to the equivalent of every nuclear bomb ever detonated going off inside your cells simultaneously. Death method number 3, exotic matter. Remember that exotic matter we needed to time travel? Same stuff props open wormholes, and if it exists, it's probably violently unstable. One calculation by Matt Visser showed that a wormhole 1 meter across would require a ring of negative energy equivalent to the total mass energy of Jupiter compressed into a loop smaller than an atom. The wormhole would collapse before light could cross it. Death method number 4, traversability. Even if you stabilized it with exotic matter, physicist Kip Thorne proved that anything with mass entering a wormhole destabilizes it. Your own body weight triggers collapse. You're not an electron. You're 70 kilograms of timeline-destroying instability. Imagine trying to run through a tunnel made of playing cards, and every step you take causes the tunnel behind you to collapse. Except the collapse moves faster than you can run, and when it catches you, you don't just get buried, you get erased from causality. Here's the twist. Even if you somehow survived, stabilized the wormhole, avoided the radiation, resisted spaghettification, the energy cost to keep it open is continuous. The moment you stop feeding it Jupiter's mass energy per second, it collapses, with you inside. Wormholes aren't shortcuts. They're death traps held open by impossible materials, and the only thing that reaches the other side is the ghost of what you used to be.
The most famous time travel problem. You go back, kill your grandfather before he meets a grandmother, erase your own birth, but if you were never born, who killed grandpa? Universe implodes, curtain call, everyone goes home. Except, no, the universe doesn't break. It's break-proof, and the reason reveals something far more disturbing about reality.
Solution number 1, Novikov's self-consistency. The universe deploys probability as a defense mechanism. You literally cannot create a paradox. Free will in the past is an illusion enforced by cosmic censorship. Solution number 2, many worlds interpretation. Physicist Hugh Everett's solution. You kill grandpa, but you don't erase yourself. You create a new branch universe where you were never born. In the new branch, you're an anomaly, a person without an origin, because your origin exists in a parallel universe. You're not a murderer, you're a glitch, a person-shaped hole in causality.
Solution number 3, quantum mechanics says you already failed. The 2014 University of Queensland experiment proved something terrifying when they simulated a photon traveling through a closed time-like curve and trying to